Guys, wanted to give you this little video of Marley, just show you all the things that she has learned while being here with me. She's been a fun dog. I super appreciate you guys letting me work with her. So we're working on some obedience on and off leash. Right now she's on leash, but we have this long line, so we're able to kind of drag it out. It's cold today. We're not going to work. We're going to head home here in a minute, but it is important, whether it's rain or shine, freezing or not freezing, we get Marley out and we work on some obedience. So it did feel warmer, and then when we started walking over here, the wind hit in, so I didn't get her sweater on, but we'll head home here in a minute. But anyway, I just wanted to show you just what she knows. So this is the heel command. Heel means stay by me, whether we're holding a leash or we're not. We want to train the dog to understand position, because then we get a much better mindset. So sometimes Marley gets a little nervous with that leash dragging on the floor. She doesn't like the way that it feels at her feet. But this in and of itself is a good exercise to teach her to ignore that stress and pay attention to us. So, you know, dragging the leash on the ground, it touches your foot. To us, it's not that big of a deal, but to her, she doesn't like it. And a lot of people might kind of give in and be like, oh, you know, we're sorry that we're not going to make you heel today, but we're not going to make her heel for very long. But it is important for us to follow through with her. Now, because we don't have that leash, if she gets a little stuck, what Ben does is do a little bit of encouragement with his body language. And so that leash really gives dogs a lot of information. And so when we go away from it, it can get hard. It can be really hard to heel, but really, really good exercise for her. We pick it up again and we just go about, you know, our walks and stuff. So some other things she's learned. Why don't you go up on the sidewalk, Ben, where it's less wet? Is some sits and some downs. We want to make sure that she understands the difference between the two. We'll come up to dry land right here. So sit, when we ask for a sit, we expect her bum to go down, and we expect it to be implied that you keep sitting there. So despite weather, despite distractions, despite dogs going by, you need to keep that your bum on the ground until we release you. So go ahead and release her. And then to release her, we just simply say, okay, and we just, you know, move along. So really, really good. We're not saying the word stay, but we are implying it. The next thing we'll do is a down. Now, we don't do those together. We don't say sit and then down. We ask for a down separately, because sometimes downing can make dogs feel vulnerable and they might choose to sit instead of down. And then sometimes it can ruin your sit. If you're always saying sit down, then the dog just anticipates you're going to ask me to down anyway. I'm just going to down. So we do it in two separate exercises. Same principles apply. Keep doing this behavior until we release you. If you break a little bit too soon, we're just going to encourage you to lay back down. Good girl. Good. Now, downing is a position for a fearful dog that makes them feel very vulnerable. For her, it kind of, we get to see the root cause of what all of her behavioral problems were all about. All of the barking and the neurotic behavior, it comes from a place of fear. And so when we put her in a down stay, we ask her to not be neurotic. We ask her to put trust in us, and you see the fear come to life. So training is hard. Training can be stressful because she wants to kind of hide when she gets nervous. Now, it's important that we work her through these things because, you know, in this moment right now, it's stress that she's dealing with. I don't want to down. I want to come back to you. But over time, she learns to cope. She learns to cope a lot better with some of her fear and some of her anxieties. And she's gotten substantially better with some of her fear. Like I've seen a lot of fear from her. And the last 2 or 3 days, she's been so much more confident in all of her obedience and with new people and lots of cool things. So we actually did a training session with another client, and they handled her. They had her do some obedience for them, and that was a big deal for her. Somebody new telling her what to do, and she handled it like a champ. So, okay, Ben, go ahead and release her. Now, if we pick up this leash and she breaks too soon, Ben's going to ask her to down again, because sometimes we go to that leash, oh, I get to break. Oh, we're going. And so there's a little bit of anticipation right there, anticipation of I get to break. And so we just encourage her to stay in a down, and then we just move on once she does it. So really, really good for Marley. But let's go ahead and walk back as I kind of talk about some other things, and then we'll film her in the house. So Oh, my hands are cold. It felt warmer earlier because when the snow came, like the air felt warmer, but now the snow has stopped and the wind has kicked in. But we're gonna go back home and work a little bit in the living room and kind of show you what we're gonna do with her throughout the day. So she's gonna be coming from a very, very structured environment. Marley was never just left unsupervised. She was always under somebody's care. Otherwise, she was in a crate. So throughout the day, if you need to leave and she doesn't come with, I want her to be crated when you're gone. When you're sleeping at night, you're not really able to supervise her. I want her crated at night. So this isn't about destructive behaviors. This is not about potty training or anything like that, although a crate can be useful for those situations. This is all about mindset and structure. Whether we are in a training mode or not, dogs are learning. And so we want her to understand whether, you know, if we're just hanging out. For the first couple of weeks, I want it to be very, very training based. So I don't want her on the furniture. I don't want her sleeping in the bed. And this is going to help her transition to a new house. So a new house can mean new rules, new things. It can be stressful, but we want to make sure that she has, you know, a good, good mindset going into a new house. So anyway, so we'll talk a lot about that in the go home session. I plan on working with you guys for about 2.5 hours, 4 o'clock Friday. So, good girl. Well, even just like all of this traffic and stuff, she used to be pretty skittish around these cars. And every once in a while you see her get kind of skittish, but she's able to work through this. And you see how she looks at Ben for direction when he's holding that leash. She does the same thing when I hold the leash. It really is great to see her being like, I'm kind of nervous. What would you like me to do? Versus, I'm going to take control and bark and be a little neurotic. So it's really, really good to see from her what to do in these situations when she gets spooked. Okay, we'll go in the house and I'll pretend to be a stranger and I'll knock on the door and come in, and this is a good exercise to practice. So day to day throughout the house, I'm going to have her drag a leash for the first 10 days when she's outside of the crate. Okay, so coming into the house, we ask for a wait. And so we just want this. We want her to wait and look at us, and I want her to not be on the step while doing it. Good girl. And so if she, sniffing the ground and avoiding, I wait for that eye contact to release her through. So she's going to be looking at me. Make sure she looks at Ben. There you go. There you go. Good. So this just creates good mindset coming and going from the house. We do that as well going outside the house. Good job, Marley. Okay, so placing in the house is so big. So we are just outside. This little beagle chose to place. She's done the place command pretty much her whole life. It just creates good mindset. So this beagle's like, whatever, I'll just chill. It really creates a really good mindset for a lot of dogs. So it puts them in a spot to be. I don't care what Marley does when she's on the bed, as long as she stays there. She can sit, she can lay down, she can stand up. I don't care. She can use this to get comfortable. This is functional around food. So if I'm cooking dinner, I often will have dogs in place. As I eat my dinner, I often have dogs in place. And when guests come over. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to work on some desensitization. So I'm going to come back down the stairs. This is stuff I want you to practice. She doesn't really bark that much here, but we'll see if we can get her to bark. So she knows this is me. We've done this a bunch, this exercise, but just that door knocking right then and there, dogs often get neurotic about it. I need to bark. And so I often do this just periodically. I open the door. Hello, come on in. Now here, she's not making a peep. At your apartment, she might, because she remembers old habits, you know, so she might even on Friday when I come back. And so we want to create good mindsets. I'll even ring the doorbell. Oh, my doorbell working? Oh, there we go. Okay. My hands are cold. I didn't hit it hard enough. Good girl. Good. So now obviously she knows this is me, so it's good to practice with neighbors, if you have family coming over, because once it's a different person besides you, then the dynamic changes, but she still needs to hold that place command no matter what. No matter if somebody sits down, no matter if somebody talks to her, she needs to hold that, and it's going to give her a job to do. She doesn't get to just run up to the door and bark and decide who comes and goes. She needs to have a calmer mindset with it. So good girl, Marley. Good. Even when people come in, there's somebody behind her. Good girl. Really, really awesome stuff. So we'll go over all of this in detail of how to reinforce it with the e-collar when she comes home Friday.